with the School of Me in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, USA. And I'm hoping we can have some fun actually today, discussing something, learning something in a different way, redefining some of the definitions that have so powerfully eliminated our power from us so that we no longer relinquish it. If you're powerful and don't know it, do you ever develop your power? If you are a king and don't know it, are you still it? If you have a promised land to you and you can't find it and you never arrive, what good is that kingdom to you? The kingdom of the promised land? So many are trying to take their promised land by force, thinking it's molecular. But I suggest to you, the promised land, the God of light, the God of love, the God that loves you, loves me, loves every one of us equally, with an unconditional love. Unconditional love. Not related to performance. Not requiring certain beliefs. The God of light, love, and peace that I speak of is very different, and I differentiate it almost daily between it and the God of wrath. So, Satan. Big subject, huh? Maybe. God. Satan. Do we define one by the other? Or are you willing to ask questions without compromising your stance on the subject? Are you willing to investigate, explore? What are you willing to look at this day? The feasibility of, the possibility, the plausibility? Or are you just so rigid, so stiff-necked you want to protect your belief at all cost? And you want to slam me before you even hear what I say, or know what I think, or understand the big picture that is not a small one. The picture that we have of ourselves creates God. Does it not? We look in the mirror, we see us. We don't see God. So we think if there's a God, it's somewhere else. It's someone else. It's another entity, be it what it may. We look in the mirror. We don't see the devil. We think we see us. We form us in our own mind. Our mind images us to us. Our mind has power. But what is the power of our mind? And who is the real us? And who are these things, these concepts that have been originated and fostered upon us. Maybe there's another way to not just think about these things, but to not be afraid. To not be afraid about thinking of these things differently. Let's ask more questions, shall we? Have we not made God? Do we not make God in our image every day? How many people on earth think God is a man, a male progenitor, a male seed, the seed of a male? God? Come now. What if God is a woman? Well, it is a valid question, isn't it? What if? Does that destroy your feeble mind? Does that destroy your religion? Do you crumble so easily? Do you have to protect everything so arduously? If the kingdom of heaven is within you, how do you protect it? Or do you need to protect it? Or was all that just concept of victor and foe? Or who are we defining, and how are we defining us and what we are in this world of definitions that we image to ourselves, the operation of ascribing powers, ascribing influence, and then living our lives according to the definitions someone else has given us, living our lives as if there's a roaring lion in the street, as if there's a Satan that wants to devour all of us, and we need to beware lest a false teacher gives us a wrong idea. Are we so fragile, delicate? Are we doomed so easily? Or is there more to the story? I suggest there's a whole lot more to the story than we've ever been taught. There's more to the story than most of us want. Because the mind wants to be right. Human nature, innate characteristic. It wants to be right. It wants to supply your words, your wisdom, and therefore control your life. The brain is a living organism, right? It's a living organ, tissue composed of matter, and yet there's electrical impulses, millions, trillions of them going on. Almost an infinite number, seems like, of electromechanical, chemical interactions going on. All sorts of sparks. If you start looking at pictures of neurons and the parts of neurons and looking at consciousness, how does it operate? Who's controlling what consciousness? So when we say, who am I? Realize the artifacts of all the definitions that have been placed in the DNA that you grow in you according to that DNA and those definitions every day. And you walk accordingly. And you create your world as such. And you image God to yourself. How do you picture God? I mean, if you take a moment, if you take out a pencil and paper and draw a little sketch of what you think God is, what does it look like? What does the devil look like? What are you going to draw? A man with a crown on a big throne? Another man red with a pitchfork and horns? You see, we image those things to ourselves. And I suggest that we approach it with the idea of in understanding who we are, understanding what we ascribe these other powers to, so that we don't limit our own. What if you are more powerful than Satan? Everything that you've ever thought about, the power of the devil, Satan, all these terms, roaming the universe, wanting to devour. What if you are more powerful? If you are, don't you want to know it? But I suggest to you, knowing, even if that's true, even if you know that's true, it doesn't help you at all. Unless you decide to operate in your authority. You see, a lot of people are fond of saying, oh, the truth will make you free. No, my friend, the truth will not make you free. There's more to the story. Don't be simpletons, no, gullible and naive. The truth will not make you free. The truth helps you see. But the authority that you possess not, but that authority of your genetic heritage that you can walk in can allow you to see and conquer the fear, doubt, and unbelief. Conquer what? Conquer the definition. Conquer the definition, conquer the concept. Conquer the You see, do we need to? We don't often talk about conquering a definition, conquering an image, conquering a thought. Why do we need to conquer thoughts? Because thoughts are so powerful. Thoughts create. But you, my friend, are the power that creates. The thought is just a potential. Just a potential thought. But that thought is not created unless it uses your power. Your power. You are the creator. The very power of creation. The power of creation is you. And the power of life and death is in your tongue for you. Then you are creating as we see, as we speak, as we feel, as we become. We are creating because we are living the creation process, and it is not separate. But if we don't know these things, are we not incarcerated in some dream? Are we not kept out of our promised land? Are we kept at the lowest level of education, continually being dumbed down by each other, the blind leading the blind, repeating within, trying to be eloquent, produce followers, to think like somebody says you should? I suggest to you, my friend, there are different definitions. There are different images. And there is a way that you can de-image God to you so that God is no longer male and that God is no longer limited, that God is no longer outside of you. But if we do that as the devil, where's the headquarters? Where's the command center? The command and control center. Where does motive come from? Aren't you curious? If you can change your motivation, can you not change your energy? If you change your energy, your motivation, does your life not change? You make decisions a different way because you make them with different images, different words. So who, my friend, is defining your life to you this day? Your mirror? Isn't that a valid question? Who's defining your life? How you operate, where you operate, and what you think of yourself? And why do you feel doom, gloom, and deceit, disappointment, discouragement? Or what energizes you? What brings you peace? Where are you going and what are you doing with the time allotted to you? Or are you changing time? You see, the cosmic story, there's simply more to it. There's more than we have been led to believe. There's more sometimes than we want to believe. There are times when our nature seems to overtake us, and whatever the innate, inherent attitude is that we began life with wants to prevail. You see, what if God is not a person? What if Satan isn't a person? What if heaven and hell are not as we have thought? You see, we conceptualize them by images, by definitions. But what if there is a way to see the light, see the truth? Again, I suggest the truth will not make you free unless you appropriate it, you can know a whole lot of things and not act on them. But I suggest to you the leadership of God, of light, is in motion. And it's always in motion. It's not stagnant. The energy of life is procreating the energy of life at all times. The energy that is genetically modified is reproducing genetically modified life at all times. We are an energy an energetic force. And we have the ability to create. And we are creating our lives at this very moment. We are creating our own perception of what's going on around us and within us and what's happening to us. But are we operating according to truth or the words of another force? You see, I think we can see more if we want to. We can hear more if we want to. When the Bible speaks of whoever has to more will be given. More will be given to whoever has. And whoever doesn't have much, that which they have is taken away. It doesn't seem fair, but it's all a momentum. It's all in motion. There's no standing still. In one sense, you're going forward or backward. You're increasing in truth or decreasing. You're acting because you're growing the tree of life. And I suggest to you, the tree of life is between your ears, not limited to the function of your neurons. I suggest to you that you are not molecular. We think we are because of our five-sense mind and the power of it creating us creating it, you see. So I begin to ask, are we creating the concepts, or are the concepts creating us? These words, these sentences, what effect do they have on our lives? What if the brain is Satan? The brain. Everyone's brain is Satan. Well, what is Satan? Anti-God? Control? Condemnation? How do you want to define the characteristics of what we've called that word? We call that word into being with a shape, form, and fashion. We anthropomorphize it. We give it physical characteristics and think it operates like us in some type of unlimited form. I suggest to you there's just so much more to the story. What if what we have called Satan is simply ignorant God? What if we are all a race, the human race, humankind? What if we all are a God race? What if our mind works differently? And what in the interconnected quantum world, we are not only not feeble, but we are no longer localized as a force of one in our mirror with tangible characteristics that we think operate in a tiny space that we create our world with. And what is the power of truth if we don't act on it? What if truth is not stagnant? What if truth is something we act in? What if truth is a force? We're wanting to localize it, but what if it's everywhere? What if God is everywhere because God is energy? What if what we're calling energy is beyond our scope of comprehension at the moment, so we use the word to describe it the best we have in our vocabulary right now, and we call it energy, a state of being? What if that state of being is you? What if you are the energy of comprehension? Not condescension, but comprehension, creation. And what if something is using that energy? Yep. What if something is using that energy, and that something that's using your energy of creation is using you to create it? Valid question, I suggest. What if you are a member of the light race? The light, a being of light, a transcendent individual, an angel. But we haven't known. We've been taught religion. We've been taught definitions and words and images, and taught to prostrate ourselves before people of authority and altars and an imaginary God, no matter what we thought its powers was, were, are. Are you willing to think a new thought? Are you willing to approach truth in a different way? Truth is not delicate. Truth is not fragile. And I suggest you have authority. Most of us cast our lot in with a bunch of strangers. So many of us, we live our whole lives according to words from people we never met, never touched their skin, never felt their face, never felt their love, but something within us wanted to feel like we must conform. What if we really are intergalactic beings? What if we are not limited to one universe? What if all the power of creation is you, but you're creating yourself all this time, and your life limited by what you think? And you think by the words you've been given. You think by the processes programmed into you by your DNA. What if this world is imaginary? Real to us in it. It's a magnetic world, right? Particles spin. There's a flow of energy through your head, a flow of energy through the core of the earth, gravitational waves. How do we even speak with each other? It's the propagation of an energy wave. I'm coding energy at a certain rate, a certain frequency, and through your ears, your mind, your brain, you are decoding it. We are all transceivers. And we are not limited to what we see. And we, my friends, are not limited to the definitions that we have been given. And I suggest to you the artifacts of religion, religious ways, religious definitions. They're like tent stakes driven into our temple. They're like chains that some of us have seen pictures of. A little stake with a chain around an elephant's leg. That, of course, the idea, the portrayal, the elephant could so easily pull the little peg out of the ground virtually effortlessly, but it doesn't know it because it tugged on it so many times when it was a child. It doesn't know any better. I suggest to you, the authority of you is dependent on you. And if you don't know you have authority over your mind, it will drive you to death. Satan is the mind of God that doesn't know that it's God. Satan exalts what it wants to without love. Without love, the values of love, the peace, prosperity. You see, all these things have definitions, and every definition images something to you. But what if we took the projector off and we laid down the screen? Do you think it's possible we can de-image us to us? Can you only think in human terms? Are you limited to human terms? Why do you limit yourself? I suggest to you that the original power of creation, before this planet existed, before humanity existed as such on this planet, before there was a theory of God, a concept of sin, a concept of condemnation, before we began to brutalize each other, before we even wanted a food chain and to be at the top of it, we were what God is. In light, non-molecular, intangible, eternal, infinite. And we all operated in a God mind, a consciousness. We all had our individuality, and yet we were connected and communicated instantaneously, not needing the power of words like we do this day. There was no need, there was no multitude of languages. So there was no translation problems with each other because we were all of one language, and I call it the language of God, the language of love. Not the language of God that says, do this, do that, or I will slaughter you. I'm not talking about the God that says, I'm sending in disciples to convert you. And if you don't begin to live according to our mind, well, my army will kill all of your men, women, children, and cattle. I consider that the satanic mind. The mind that is built on control, condemnation, rite, ritual, performance. People who have abdicated the power of their love and decided to love power, because we all have this power. We were born before time was. We were created. We were the consciousness of God, and we have never been separate, though it has been controlled by the function of the brain. I have a brain, but the brain is not me. Me, the real me, exists in a state of power, a state of immortality, a state of heaven. The power that's within me is infinite, and I am a member of the race of the infinite. So you can say, well, how in the world did we get here? And I have addressed that in multiple videos. But understand, just like this moment, I suggested to you as the creator, you are creating you right now. And we've been given a dish of lies that say we are this, that, and the other, that it is appointed to every one of us to die. I suggest to you, it's bullshit. And even using that term, some would call it sin, contemptible, blasphemous heresy. You can't, but I can. See, there are people who do use this thing. They use their body to brutalize other people instead of love them. But I'm talking about not the love of power. I'm talking about the power of love that loves every person on this earth equally without regard for what they look like, what they've done, their socioeconomic status, and whether they have enough to eat or not, or whether they live in king's palaces and were born into the aristocracy of their land. Suggesting we learn to love these people equally, because we are all interconnected at a level that we haven't understood. If I heal you, are you not healing me? Is there a reciprocation that transpires in the world of energy that we haven't understood? The interconnected world, the quantum world? Or are we living only in the world of entanglement? Or are we beyond that now? I suggest to you, consciousness is a state of affairs. And it's up to us to walk in our authority. You have the authority to define life to you. You have the authority to define heaven and hell to you. God, Satan, the devil, who torments you and what torments you. But I suggest to you what the Bible calls the accuser of the brethren, that which roams about as a lion to devour the young and the old, the gullible, is simply the mind. But wait, Was God the mind? Oh. What if truth is in how you use it and what you want to do with your truth? Do you want power to love or do you want power to control? Maybe truth is in action, but what are we doing with it? I suggest to you the power of love is not the love of power. The power of control only wants more control. That's like what does a millionaire want? A second million. You see, there's more to the story. And I suggest to you we are growing up. We are growing up by choice, not by evolution. We are evolving. We are growing. We are growing the tree of life. And this thing between your ears is where the promised land is. But if you don't begin to exercise your authority to walk in the truth of love, you're conquered. It conquers you. And it will take you to death after it uses up all your reserve of energy. It uses your physical presence. What sort of energy simply wants to use the energy of God, use it up and then dispose it? Well, conceptually, we could call that what we want to. And everyone chooses their definitions and their nuances, the connotations, to live in their own vernacular parlance, using their diction and grammar. Does your vocabulary ruin your life or create it? What are you conceiving in your mind? See, what are you conceiving the conception of? What are you imaging to yourself? Because at all times you seem to be imaging something. Or are you willing to learn to still the mind? What if the only way you really still your mind is in fact not to reflect something else, but originate your own light in the stream of your own power? Picking up your own pen, deciding what you're going to think and write about, and how you are going to define things. Oh, I like that. What if the concept of stilling the mind, listening for a voice, is not the right image? What if we rethink this? What if ultimate surrender to who we are, to hear God, begins to be perceived as we redirect our energy into what we want the energy to be, what we want to receive, what we want to write about? What are we willing to conquer in our surrender to be the real creator that we are? Choose life. Please choose love. Love that doesn't lie to you. Love that doesn't just use your energy, use your character, your reputation, your money, your presence. Please don't squander who you are on wanting to live by other people's standards, religious or not. Be the original you. The original you. And this is what we're coming back into, so that the power of light that destroys us. Yep, I said that. The power of light that simply wants to use us because it imposes its will. It imposes its energy. It poses as light, but inside it's ravenous wolves. You see the images, the definitions. You hear my voice. But what's going on inside of you? What's going on inside of me? What's going on with this transmission? Are you willing to open up to your own energy, not energized by another, not led by another? Are you willing to arise in the leadership of you? Are you willing to pick up your pen? Are you willing to write the first person words of God of light, love, and peace, joy? Are you willing to direct your energy using a pen on a tablet, a piece of paper, and begin writing what your values are and why you love, what you want to love, what you want to do, what you want to be, what you want to hear? Are you not in process of creation? Are you not creating? Are you not transforming that which has been separate from truth, the truth of love, light, and peace, God? Are you not transforming you into it by the very process of receiving the perception of the energy of God? No longer trying to use faith to get to God or receive from God. No longer trying to hear? Or are you willing to relinquish your authority no more over this thing? I suggest to you, the kingdom of God is between your ears. So is hell. And this thing between our ears will run us into the ground, use our energy, torment us to death. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status, your lineage, or your blood, your color. The mind of torment is between our ears, and that is hell. But so is heaven. And the door to each one is what we create with who we are, our own power, the knowledge. And we eat of the knowledge every day. We determine our truth because each one of us is the judge, and we are judging every word. And we condemn it or we exonerate it. We apply it to our lives. We say, I believe this. I believe this. I not only believe it, but I will act on it. I will pick up my pen. I will do this, that, and the other. And I'm going to stop doing some things. I'm going to stop using some words or patterns of words. Or who will you shun no more? Who will you love? Who will you be conscious of? Will you become conscious that you are the creator of consciousness? Will you become conscious of love that no more condemns you into separation, that no more condemns you to torment, so that you languish no more in the language of other people's words and patterns and their energy? I ask you to condemn yourself no more. I ask you to know who God is, who Satan is. There is but one. Heaven and hell, you are creating you all the time, and you are determining your path. And in the individual uniqueness of you, I ask you to come into terror no more, but write with the words of peace in the authority of you, where you direct your mind, not letting your mind torment you anymore, where you learn to write, where you determine and decide what you are creating you as, where, and why, because you're the creator of you. I ask you to be a new creation. And realize the thorns in your brow that crown of thorns, the artifacts of religion, the artifacts of control, all of the words that have so damned and damaged our psyche, our existence, will begin to lose their power. Choose carefully. I love you all. My name is Theodore. I've asked a lot of questions. I've posed and given you, offered you some different definitions for you to choose. Choose well. Write. Pick up your pen. Write me. You can write me, literally write me, at Box 34 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And you can write the first person words of me. But you see, to understand the question, who are you appropriating? Who are you saying me is? You see, the temptation to say, oh, is God saying that through you to me? Instead of me saying that to you as a flesh man? What if I'm not limited to flesh? What if I am my word? What if my words are me, not this flesh thing? What if the power, the eminence, the radiance, the energy, the procreation ability of me, that which I am, that which I am, that which I am is really us creating us all the time? Willing now to no longer be led by, limited to flesh. Create us anew. Create us anew. O God, create us anew, O God, in your shoes with one consciousness. Create the consciousness that creates you again to be it. God, in our shoes that one was, one were. We are now coming back in to just like when Jesus said, John 17, may all know we are one. I and the Father are one. How about I and the Mother are one? How about I and the Word are one? How about coming into your own authority, your own power to regenerate you? Even the Bible speaks of the time of the regeneration. And this is the regeneration of the kings who will walk into their kingdom. When the prodigal returns, the robe and crown are brought. When you come into your kingdom, you come into your kingdom first, by your mind, through your mind. And your mind exalts you no more in separation to be creating the created creation of that which creates all creation again. This is a newborn, a new creation. And this is what we're doing. Living love, becoming it. Seamless, no longer limited to earth, and yet being able to have coffee, go water ski, sit down and eat fish with people on the seashore, appear in upper rooms without going through the door. When people want to throw you off the cliff because you've given them some truth, you just walk through them. You raise the dead. You see, you're tempted no longer by the power of ultimate power. You're no longer tempted to create yourself in separation. You see us all as one, and you love each other. There's no brutality in this that I'm speaking of. There's no control. You can't control me. My word goes everywhere. I become one. I haven't started doing so many things that I will yet do, but I will do them and continue to teach you to do them. If you will teach me that you are not separate from the real you, the me that guides the stars, that hangs planets in space. You see, there's a consciousness. God is not male. What we are, please don't limit to the 5 sense mind. And don't let the 5 sense mind rule you anymore by the definitions of man and language and its authority of control. You begin to arise in your leadership of you and languish no more, wanting to hear an audible voice, nor see a physical God that's not you. You begin to empower your mind with the seed of the Word. The seed of the Word of light, love, and peace. Remember the parable, the seed and the sower. The Word is the seed. You are growing you a different way. And I suggest you are the light of the world. You have the power, the grace, and the beauty. You are immortal, eternal. And you will live forever, recreating you one way or the other, something using your energy, or you using yours to redeem. Be the savior of you. No one else will save you. There's no religious stories that you'll be able to point to. And your last enemy is death. And now, we die no more because we create ourselves no more to die. We create ourselves to regenerate ourselves before death takes us. And the regeneration of life is here now with the knowledge of one. And we procreate it because we're not stagnant. Truth is in motion, and my love goes everywhere. Thank you. Thank you for listening and caring and loving you enough to love you more, to be the real you. Pick up your pen for that which is the energy of angels, energy of God Most High, energy of the universe, the energy of perfection, the energy of creation, the energy of this nurturing divine feminine consciousness, the nurturing consciousness of unconditional love will begin to come through your pen as you do not subject it to the torment of that which wants to use your thought process. Come into the mind of God by surrender and put on the robe of the consciousness of Christ, not Christian of, but anointing you to live in your own authority, creating you to create peace in this world, beginning with you. I love you. I'm with the School of Me in Eureka Springs. On the web, theschoolofme.com. Write me, love me. Love me in all forms. Love me infinitely. Love the destitute, the deranged. Love all of us. And let love flow through your pen this day. Thank you again, Theodore in Eureka Springs. Thank you again. Good day. The truth will not make you free unless you begin to power that truth with the operation of your crown, your command center, and love each other. Brutalize no one. Debase no one. Live in law no more, but love, who loves all equally. I love you. Good day. Thank you for sharing this time and picking up your pen multiple times a day to write the living word.